part, and Amber will show you the tool itself.
All right, so I thought we could just give kind of an overview of what's going on with the tool. I imagine most of you guys have poked around a little bit, but I don't know if anyone knows what's really going on with it. So when we first enter the tool, we start by selecting one of 6 categories that we're interested in analyzing. So for this case, for the walkthrough, let's assume that we have some sort of a film or something that improves existing solar technology. So we'd start out with electricity. And then we have solution filters here on the left to help filter down the technologies, or you can search by name or keyword here. And then this is a full list of all of the technologies within this category that currently exist in the tool. So we will select the solar photovoltaic technology. And then on the inputs page, you can select the geography. Right now, we only have one geography for all of the solutions, but in the future, we intend to have multiple. So this is one, for example, with NYSERDA, we could have a specific New York geography here. You can change the start year, which changes the span of the analysis, and then the uncertainty, which modifies a couple key variables to provide us with the bounds that Cassie was talking about. So we're not trying to provide a single line for any of the projections. We want to provide some sort of confidence interval for what we anticipate could happen in the future. And then in the target market tab, you select the total available market. Again, we only have one here, but we intend to have multiple in the future. In this case, the total available market is the broadest market that your technology is going to be deployed within. So in this case, that's gross electricity generation for the world. And then we select the target market, which is a subsector of the total available market that we expect our technology specifically to be replacing over time. So again, in this case, we only have one, but in the future, we want to have multiple so that users will be able to select specific target markets and also stack these markets specifically to what they expect to be displacing. So in this case, the analysis is specifically replacing the gross electricity generation from natural gas power plants. But we can imagine, in the future having target markets, for example, coal or other, power plants. And then below that, we have the market penetration. So this is the percentage of the target market that you expect will adopt the new technology. So for example, in the year 2022, we expect that 5.5% of the electricity generated from natural gas power plants will actually be generated by our new technology instead. And we give users the ability to modify this, so they can click out these, they can add values here, and you can change the fit method, the interpolation method between all the raw values. And if there are any questions, feel free to interrupt me. And for some, we provide Crane default values for all of these. Some of them are just a default S-curve, but some of them are also based on historical data. So for example, here, you can see what references we have, and we have an actual reference, which means this is based on historical data. So we hope that this will be a jumping off point for some of our users to be able to identify their own market penetration curves that are appropriate for their own technology. And then in the established market tab, not all technologies have an established market, but specifically for this one, because solar panels already exist and we're just improving upon an already low GHG technology, we have an established market. So in this case, the established market is the existing solar panel technology. And we include this to be conservative. So our anticipation is that in addition to replacing our technology, replacing some of the high GHG technology, which is going to be natural gas in this case, we also expect that we're probably going to be replacing something that's already somewhat clean, in this case, the solar panels. So here we assume that we're actually not going to be replacing that, so that's 0, but we have the ability to modify this if we do expect to be replacing some of that. So let's say, if we think 3% of our market will actually be replacing the clean technology. And then the figure of merit is the expected performance metrics of our new technology. So this one's probably the most difficult to grasp, but you can see here, in this case, it's just going to be the overall system efficiency. So that's going to be the ratio of electricity output to solar energy input. And the gray line here represents the incumbent figure of merit. So this is the efficiency of already existing solar panels. And then the top line, the green and black, is going to be our technology. So you can see that there is an improvement on the efficiency of our technology over the existing clean solar panel technology. And we give users the ability to modify this as well to specifically capture what their technology is able to do. Then we can run our report. We provide some key assumptions for the report to make this projection true, what they essentially have to believe. And we also highlight the values that have and have not been modified by the user. And I skipped over this part, but we also provide an area for users to be able to add their own justifications. So one of the goals with Crane was to be very transparent, and we also want to encourage our users to be very transparent. And so we wanted to provide them with an area to add any justifications for if they change the default assumption. So if users had added that, it was the little plus sign on the side, the justifications would show up right below here. And then we've got the annual emissions reduction potential chart here. This is what Cassie showed you previously. This just shows our projections for the emissions reduction for our technology. So this is the difference between a world in which our technology does not exist and a world in which we did deploy our technology with the previous inputs that we described. You can also switch to a cumulative emission reduction potential view. And then we've got a heat map here. So this heat map specifically corresponds to the final year of the projection. In this case, it's 2040. And this is in a situation in which the market penetration is actually 25% higher and 25% lower than what we expected, and in which the new technology figure of merit is 25% higher and lower. So if the technology is actually 25% better in terms of efficiency, or if it's 25% worse in terms of efficiency. So this just gives us a little bit of a snapshot of the variability of the projections. And the boundaries here correspond to the boundaries on this plot. And then to the right of that, we've got this tornado plot, which tells us, we're trying to answer the question of what we have to believe for this to be true. So this is, if we tune different dials, what is the effect in percent change of the annual ERP? So here you can see that the market penetration and the target market size are very important, and so we have to have a lot of faith in those numbers for that to be accurate. But maybe the new technology intensity or the new technology figure of merit are have a little bit less of an effect on the overall annual ERP, so we can have a little bit more variability and still expect to see pretty accurate projections. And all of these also have cumulative ERP. And then this plot here is the market size. So this is a stacked market, so we can see how the technologies take over other markets over time. And then we've got the greenhouse gas emissions intensity of each of the technologies, of each of the technology markets. You can see how each of the greenhouse gas emissions of the markets change over time. And then we've got the calculation references page. So this is our transparency document. This gives users a way to get all the way from the input to the final numbers that we're showing them. So we've got all of the raw data that's in our admin app contained here. So this is all of the data that's been researched for each individual technology. And we align these with the references at the bottom. And then from there, we have line by line all of the calculations to get from these input numbers all the way to the final annual emissions reduction potential for the final year. So this is if a user wanted to come in and say and really understand absolutely everything about this analysis, they would be able to identically reproduce what it is that we've done. And then we've got the company recommendations tab. So this is Crane Enterprise that we are currently working on. And this is the integration of Partner AI. So this has all of the related organizations that we've been able to find for this specific technology. And then we give users the ability to save a solution to their own profile. So this makes it easy to rerun solutions once you've modified all of those inputs for your own customization. And then users can download a Crane input file, which you can also upload to the front page. So this makes it really easy for users to share their reports with other people. So you can just share the Crane file, someone else can upload it and then see the exact same report that you're seeing. They can download a PDF report or an Excel workbook that contains all of the data on the analysis page. And then really quick, I will show off the admin app. So the admin portal is what the fellows use to upload all of the results or all of the research that they've been working on. So I won't go into depth in this, but this is what the fellows have been tirelessly working on to get all of our technologies. So they go through each of these sections and they define all of these metrics for all of the different markets. And these sections here are all defined by the type of the solution that they pick. So on the first page, they can select from varying types of solutions, and that defines whether or not each technology is going to have a figure of merit or an established market or a related market, and what type of figure of merit it has. And I think that's most of it. That was a really quick run through. I didn't want to take up too much time since I imagine most people have already seen this, but let me know if there are any questions.